A major political storm is building. And this time, it is not coming from a campaign rally. It is coming from a courtroom threat. Former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso has reportedly threatened a massive 10 billion Nigerian naira's lawsuit against popular cleric Primate Ayodele. The reason? A shocking allegation. According to the cleric, Kwankwaso was allegedly paid heavily to betray Peter Obi ahead of the 2027 presidential election. The statement immediately triggered reactions across political circles and social media platforms. Supporters of different political groups quickly joined the conversation. Some defended Kwankwaso and described the allegation as unfair and damaging. Others questioned whether there was more to the situation than what was publicly known. As discussion spread, the allegation became one of the most talked about political topics. The claim touched on issues that are already generating strong emotions among many Nigerians. With the 2027 election drawing closer, every statement involving major political figures is receiving intense public attention. Supporters of Peter Obi reacted. Supporters of Kwankwaso reacted. Political observers started asking questions. Was there any proof? Was there any secret deal? Or was this another controversial political claim designed to create headlines? The questions continued to grow as more people became aware of the accusation. Many Nigerians wanted to know whether any evidence would be presented to support such a serious claim. Others argued that allegations involving prominent political figures should be backed by facts before being made public. The pressure quickly increased. Then came the response from Kwankwaso's camp. His legal team reportedly sent a strong letter demanding three things. First, the statement must be withdrawn. Second, the video containing the allegation must be taken down. Third, a public apology must be issued. The letter reportedly made it clear that the allegation was considered false, malicious, and defamatory. According to the legal team, the statement had the potential to damage Kwankwaso's reputation and create a false impression among members of the public. And according to the letter, all of this was expected within 24 hours. The warning was clear. Failure to comply could lead to legal action over what the lawyers described as false and defamatory statements. The legal threat immediately changed the direction of the conversation. What had started as a controversial public allegation was now developing into a possible court dispute involving one of the country's most recognizable political figures. Suddenly, the conversation changed. This was no longer just another political argument online. Now, there was a real threat of a major court battle. And people across the country started watching closely. Political analysts noted that defamation cases involving prominent public figures often attract significant public interest. Such disputes can raise important questions about public accountability, freedom of expression, and the responsibility that comes with making serious allegations. Because the timing could not be more important. The race toward 2027 is already creating tension. Political alliances are forming. New calculations are being made. And every statement is now carrying serious weight. Across the political landscape, discussions about possible coalitions and partnerships have continued to dominate public debate. Many politicians are already being linked to different political strategies ahead of the next presidential election. As a result, any claim involving trust, loyalty, or political cooperation is likely to attract widespread attention. For many observers, this explains why the allegation generated such a strong reaction. It was not simply about a disagreement between two individuals. It involved names that are expected to play important roles in the political developments leading to 2027. The situation also highlighted the growing influence of social media in shaping political discussions. Statements can spread rapidly across multiple platforms within minutes, reaching millions of people before official responses are issued. This often creates pressure on public figures to respond quickly in order to protect their reputations. In this case, Kwankwaso's legal team moved swiftly to challenge the allegation and demand corrective action. The response signaled that the former governor was not willing to allow the accusation to go unanswered. As public interest continued to grow, attention shifted toward the next possible development. Many people wanted to know whether the demands outlined in the legal letter would be met within the stated timeframe. Others wondered whether the dispute would eventually move from public debate into a courtroom. For now, one thing appeared certain. A political controversy that began with a single allegation had rapidly evolved into a major national discussion. And with the possibility of legal action hanging over the matter, the issue was attracting even greater attention from Nigerians who are already focused on the political battles shaping the road to 2027. As the pressure grew, attention shifted to Primate Ayodele. Many people wanted to know whether he would stand by his statement. Others expected an apology. Some believed he would provide evidence. But that did not happen. Instead, reports indicated that the controversial video was removed from his social media platforms. The development immediately became a major talking point. The removal of the video attracted fresh reactions from supporters, critics, political observers, and members of the public who had been following the controversy closely. For many people, the decision raised new questions about what could happen next. The takedown immediately created more discussion. For some people, it was a sign that the legal threat was working. For others, it was simply an attempt to avoid further controversy. Yet one important thing remained missing: the apology. At the time the controversy continued to dominate discussions, there was no public indication that the demanded apology had been issued. This kept attention firmly fixed on the matter and encouraged further debate across different political circles. Without an apology, many observers believed the dispute remained unresolved. The legal letter from Kwankwaso's team had reportedly demanded not only the removal of the video but also a clear public retraction and apology. While the video was reportedly taken down, questions remained regarding the other demands. That kept the story alive. Questions continued to spread. Would the lawsuit actually happen? Would both sides settle the matter privately? Or was this only the beginning of a much larger political conflict? These questions became increasingly important because of the political environment in which the controversy emerged. With discussions about the 2027 presidential election already gathering momentum, every dispute involving influential political figures is being watched carefully. At the same time, attention returned to some of Primate Ayodele's recent political predictions. The cleric had also spoken about the 2027 election. He predicted possible unrest in northern Nigeria when election results are announced. He also claimed that Atiku Abubakar remains the leading candidate to win. However, he did not completely rule out President Bola Tinubu. According to him, Tinubu still has a path to victory despite growing public frustration in some parts of the country. Those comments created even more debate. Because political predictions are always controversial. Some people believe them. Others completely reject them. Political predictions often attract strong reactions because they touch on issues that affect millions of citizens. While some people see such forecasts as valuable insights into future events, others argue that elections should be discussed based on facts, policies, and political realities rather than predictions. The latest comments from the cleric therefore became part of a broader national conversation about the future direction of the country and the likely outcome of the next presidential contest. Political analysts pointed out that several prominent figures are already being discussed as potential contenders or major influences ahead of 2027. As a result, statements involving candidates, alliances, and election outcomes are receiving significant attention from both supporters and opponents. But one thing is certain. Every prediction becomes a major talking point as the election gets closer. And now, with a legal battle hanging in the air, even more attention is being directed toward every statement coming from both sides. The controversy has also highlighted the growing relationship between politics, public opinion, and social media. In today's environment, comments made by influential individuals can quickly become national headlines. Once a statement gains momentum online, it often becomes difficult to contain the discussion that follows. In this case, the dispute moved beyond the original allegation and developed into a wider conversation about accountability, public responsibility, and the consequences of making serious claims involving political figures. Many observers noted that the next move from either side could significantly shape public perception. If a formal apology is eventually issued, some believe the matter could be resolved without further escalation. Others argue that legal proceedings may still be pursued depending on the circumstances surrounding the dispute. At the same time, supporters of various political camps continued to interpret events differently. Some viewed the removal of the video as an important development. Others maintained that the controversy would remain active until every issue raised by the legal letter had been fully addressed. As discussions continued, political observers emphasized that the situation serves as another example of how quickly political controversies can develop in an election season. What begins as a statement or allegation can rapidly evolve into a national issue involving lawyers, public figures, and widespread public debate. For now, attention remains focused on what happens next. Will the matter end with further clarification and reconciliation? Will additional statements be issued by either side? Or will the disagreement move into a legal process that could attract even greater national attention? Those questions remain unanswered. However, one fact is becoming increasingly clear. The controversy has expanded far beyond the original allegation, and it is now part of the wider political conversation surrounding the personalities, alliances, and expectations that are already shaping public discussion ahead of the 2027 election. The truth is simple. The 2027 election is already taking shape. And every major political figure knows it. That is why even a single allegation can create a national conversation. One reason this particular accusation gained so much attention is because of the relationship between Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso in recent political discussions. Many Nigerians remember reports that Peter Obi nominated Kwankwaso as his running mate under the NDC platform ahead of the 2027 election. That development generated significant public interest and immediately became one of the most discussed political developments in the country. Supporters of both politicians viewed the reported partnership as an important step toward building a stronger political movement ahead of the next presidential election. For many observers, the possibility of both men working together attracted attention because each commands support from different parts of the country. Political analysts noted that any alliance involving major opposition figures would naturally become a subject of intense national debate. Because of that background, any suggestion of betrayal was always going to attract attention. It was always going to generate emotion. And it was always going to create controversy. The allegation therefore did not emerge in isolation. It surfaced at a time when conversations about political cooperation, electoral strategy, and possible alliances were already dominating public discussions. As a result, the claim immediately became larger than the individuals directly involved. Now, the situation has reached a point where both reputation and political credibility are on the line. Kwankwaso's camp appears determined to protect his image. Primate Ayodele appears to be facing increasing pressure over the claims. And Nigerians are left watching every move. The dispute has also drawn attention to the growing importance of public perception in modern politics. Political figures spend years building relationships with supporters and establishing their reputations. Because of this, allegations that question loyalty or political commitment can carry serious consequences if left unanswered. For many politicians, reputation remains one of their most valuable assets. Public trust often influences political strength, campaign momentum, and the ability to build alliances. This explains why legal responses to controversial allegations are often swift and forceful. The next step could be critical. If an apology eventually emerges, the tension could cool down. If not, the courts may become the next battleground. Either way, this story has already become bigger than a simple statement. It has become part of the growing political drama surrounding 2027. Observers say the matter is now being followed not only because of the legal dispute itself but also because of what it may reveal about the political atmosphere ahead of the election. Every major controversy offers clues about the challenges and rivalries that could define the campaign season. At the same time, Nigerians continue to pay close attention to developments involving leading political figures. The public remains interested in possible alliances, strategic negotiations, and the direction political parties may take as preparations for the election continue. And as election season gets closer, stories like this will only become more intense. The alliances, the accusations, the predictions, the denials. Everything is now being watched very closely. Political analysts have repeatedly stated that the coming months could be decisive for many political actors. Decisions made today may influence future partnerships, campaign strategies, and voter perceptions. This is one reason why controversies involving prominent figures rarely disappear quickly. The current dispute has also highlighted how rapidly political narratives can develop. A single allegation can spark reactions from supporters, opponents, legal representatives, commentators, and members of the public. Once those reactions begin, the discussion often expands beyond the original issue. In recent years, social media has accelerated this process. Statements travel quickly, reactions appear immediately, and public debates can continue for days or even weeks. As a result, political figures face increasing pressure to respond quickly whenever major claims emerge. For supporters of Peter Obi, Rabiu Kwankwaso, Atiku Abubakar, Bola Tinubu, and other political leaders, the controversy has become another topic in the broader discussion about the future of Nigeria's political landscape. Each group views developments through a different lens, creating competing interpretations of the same events. Despite the heated debate, many Nigerians remain focused on the larger issues that will likely shape the 2027 election. Economic challenges, governance, security concerns, and national development continue to dominate public conversations. Political controversies may capture headlines, but voters are also paying attention to the issues that affect daily life. Still, the importance of public trust cannot be ignored. That is why disputes involving allegations, denials, and legal threats often attract enormous attention. People want answers. People want clarity. And people want to know who is telling the truth. For now, the controversy remains unresolved. The reported video has been removed. The demand for an apology remains a major point of discussion. And the possibility of legal action continues to hang over the matter. Whether the dispute eventually ends through reconciliation, clarification, or court proceedings, it has already secured a place in the wider political conversation leading to 2027. Because in politics, one statement can change a conversation. But sometimes, that same statement can create consequences that extend far beyond the moment it was first made. And as Nigerians continue to watch events unfold, attention remains fixed on what comes next in a controversy that has become one of the most closely followed political developments in the early race toward the 2027 presidential election.